It's a rare spot in history. We've had 3 successive two-term presidents, all young men when they took the office. Bill Clinton, very active in his post-presidency. Sometimes that hurt his wife, I think, in this past campaign. But Bill Clinton, very active. George W. Bush taking a very different approach. We see him from time to time, but he's been much more laid back. He says, you know, my job is to get out of the way. Let the next guy be president. Listen to President Obama trying to strike the balance on what he's going to do.
My intention is not to be in the day-to-day scrum after the new president is inaugurated, but it is my intention as a citizen to continue to promote the things that I care about.
We see him a lot, or we see him very little?
I think we see him a lot. I mean, I think he's one of the few remaining Democrats who has a prominent enough, public image to really help the party transition into this next phase. And beyond that, I mean, I think Obama is going to still be kind of like the #1 topic of discussion for the next year. I mean, we're going to be talking about his health care law, all these things that Trump wants to do to undo his legacy. I don't think he's going to be silent while all of that is happening or while Republicans are trying to do that. And this idea that former presidents can kind of like defer to the guy who's coming in next has been eroding for quite some time. I mean, I think particularly this last election with Bill Clinton literally being the husband of the opponent of the current president, I think that idea has been going out the door for a while. I think it will continue to go out the door with Obama taking on a more prominent role.
And it seems like he has some unfinished business. And also he's got the approval rating. Your approval rating goes up when you're out of office.
I mean, he does, but Trump now has his bully pulpit. No, Republicans control the House and the Senate. I'm not so sure he's going to win many of these arguments. Okay. And so if you're in them all the time, do you diminish yourself if you're out there all the time in these fights and you lose?
But when you're talking about even under the radar, what he can do to help state parties, he was talking about building that up. I think it might not be press conferences, but I do think that he has said he's going to be active in the sort of rebuilding effort.
I'm told that he's going to be active in a bigger kind of 30,000 foot way with redistricting, with fake news, other things that he sort of cares about. I do not think we're going to see him on fundraising appeals because his quality and his sort of stock will diminish very quickly if he involves himself in these day-to-day things. And the reality is he lost the last fight. His legacy is going to be remembered for, losing to Donald Trump as well here. So I think that he is going to look down the road at some bigger things, not these smaller fights.
And if we're wondering how often